Hey everyone, thanks for listening to Spooky Mountain. We're back again for another episode.
Woo! Episode number 23?
22.
Oh, 22?
No.
It's 23.
Yeah,
No, it's episode number 23. Isn't
it's
it?
not. It's 22.
Are you
Wait.
sure?
Yeah.
Okay, should we put a
I'll
bet on
bet you
it?
$1,000, but I have no money.
I've got no money as well. I'm very broke at the moment. Let's put a bet of I don't know, something fun. I'm too tired to think of something.
Yeah, I know.
Amazing
I'm
right
starting to feel less confident as money comes on the table. Oh my god. Yeah. Hey. So, you're doing a cryptid?
No,
Are you?
no, not doing a cryptid this week. I'm doing let's just call it a mystery. It's
okay.
not necessarily the scariest or most spookiest story, but it is very interesting. And yeah, it's just a mystery. Just a mystery.
Okay.
And it's a very kind of like almost a factual based mystery that will kind of make sense.
Yeah,
when you hear
yeah.
it. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so something a bit different. What about you? What are you doing? Because I've got no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, this is something that I haven't done before, which I definitely want to do more of. But
Okay.
it's more history. This one, it's just
Yay.
But
That's
yeah,
exciting.
like it is technically history, but
Okay.
it's something that a lot of people don't know about, and it's just really dark, grimy, weird history.
Yummy.
That's it's a really good story. I really like it, and I want to share it with everyone.
Oh, well, it sounds like it's going to be a bit of a different episode this week because it's not like ghosts in the haunted mansion.
Yeah, it's still fucking weird as like it's still awesome.
Well,
we got so much housekeeping to do.
Yeah, let's get into it because we may only just have time to cover our housekeeping and then time to get into our stories. So
yeah,
all right, let's get into it. So let's start off with, I think we should start off with our new review that we have because it's a great way to start off the housekeeping. So we have a new review from Galactic Snail. And the Galactic Snail says, fully entertaining tales. Hi, gals. I just wanted to say how much I love listening to your podcast and what great storytellers you are. Also, being in Canada, minus 20 degrees Celsius today, it is lovely hearing your current everyday tidbits of Australian life that you throw in among the stories as it reminds me of warmer times. Thank you for all your great work. Happy 2022. So that's lovely. I like that.
That's so nice. Fucking hell. Minus 20 degrees.
Yep. I lived in Canada for a while.
Oh, yeah. That's
and I experienced that amount of degrees.
That's
was it negative
horrible.
20? Was it negative 20 degrees Celsius?
Yeah.
And oh, mama, it's unlike any kind of cold you could ever imagine. Have you been to temperatures like that before?
I've been to minus 18.
Oh yeah, that's pretty close.
In Victoria though, and I was in a tent. It was a school camp.
no,
It was camping,
what?
and my pants froze solid. Our ski. Yeah, we're doing like cross country skiing. For like this school camp, but then we had to pitch up a tent, and then we had to put our boots and our ski pants out the front. But every morning, the snow and the ice would, harden the pants. You had to crack them on a tree to put them back on in the morning. It was crazy.
That literally just made me
I don't remember it really.
I bet, because you probably got fucking brain damage from the cold, sleeping out in negative 18 degrees.
Yeah, it fucked me up for good.
Yeah, when you were telling me that, I literally felt cold. And I got a shiver. That's horrible. Was that in the 90s when you were in primary school, or was it high school?
No, I was in year 9, so 2000 and fucking hell, I don't know.
2003
or 4, 5?
Yeah.
5. 2005?
Wait, hang on. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Yeah, so 2000 and... Oh, wait. Wait, hang on.
I graduated in... hang on, 2009.
Yeah, that's why I was like, are you that much... Are you younger than...
Wait, no, that is right.
Wait, how old were you? Sorry,
I was in
everyone.
year
We're just
9.
having a mathematics moment.
Year 9. So
I don't even know. Okay, my mathematics is shot to shit, so I've got no fucking idea.
we shouldn't be doing numbers because we started off the episode with numbers and then we fucked that off, and now we're trying to do it again. We just got to cross it off and move on.
Let's move on. Anyway,
cross it off, move on.
Yes. Anyway. Well, that's very cold temperatures to be camping in. Anyway, we've got to get our housekeeping done.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, and okay, really exciting news. We have another patron.
Oh yes,
Chelsea. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Chelsea's from California.
Yeah, Chelsea's in our Discord now. So if you sign up to Patreon, you get to join our Discord server, and we chat about some pretty funny shit and some pretty gross shit, and we just kind of,
and we got a pet channel, so everyone's sharing each other's pets, which is really lovely. We all got really cute pets. So definitely get on that. Thank you so much, Chelsea. That means a lot that you want to support us.
Yes. And while we're on the subject of Patreon, actually, just something really exciting. We now have enough patrons that we are kind of gaining money sources from those Patreons enough to cover a very important fee that we pay every month.
Monthly.
Monthly. And that's just a really exciting milestone.
So good. Yeah. We didn't really think we'd ever be able to have like support enough to cover this for a while. So it's really awesome that we, it's just kind of one thing crossed off, and it's nice to think about bigger things. You know?
For sure. And this is the kind of stuff that, this money does go towards. If you choose to support us through Patreon, or if you buy our merch or whatever, like it goes straight into like service fees and stuff like that, so it's always
and equipment upgrades down the track.
Oh yeah. So that's really very exciting, I think. Also, we really need to just quickly apologize to everyone or anyone who has been having any issues listening to any of our recent episodes.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a blunder. We fixed it. It was a very quick thing. So it was episode 20. It was the Your Stories episode. So our host, Buzzsprout, has done a little switcheroo on us, and the audio was actually replaced by the next one that shouldn't have come out. So by the time you're listening to episode 20, you actually listened to episode 21. Yeah. And then it didn't get fixed. It was completely fixed on our end. When we looked at it, it was all fixed, and it's still, when we're recording this, a few people are still having issues and some aren't, which is really strange. So it's something more in depth down the track where we're kind of out of control of it now. It's unfortunately we're gonna have to,
because at first we thought it was just like a bit of a fuck up on my end, because I thought that I had uploaded the wrong episode, because Buzzsprout basically is like the server that we use that sends our episodes out to all our podcasting platforms. I thought I'd uploaded the wrong episode, but it was actually it's a technical issue that Buzzsprout. So it happened last week, and it's still happening this week. So hopefully, we're so sorry that we know this is really annoying shit, and that listening to a podcast should be easy. But we
want to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, we're trying to get it sorted. So,
but it is on YouTube as well, so that's always going to be there, and that was a video one as well. So I mean, may as well just go over to the YouTube channel if you're having issues on the platform.
Because one of the episodes that this has been happening to is Your Spooky Stories, which is it's a video episode on YouTube as well. So you might as well go over and listen to it anyway, and watch it anyway, because it's on video. So that's a really cool way to just go watch that one. And hopefully this coming week we don't have the same issue, because it's kind of embarrassing.
It's not a good feeling. So
no, we don't feel very professional when that kind of shit happens.
No, not at all. But speaking of someone that is very professional, we want to give a shout out to Benny's Beer Review. He's a good friend of ours, and
Yes.
he gave us a lovely little shout out the other day. If you don't know who he is, check him out.
Yep.
He's Australian, just like us.
Yep.
He does beer reviews, as simple as that.
And
Benny's Beer Reviews, and they're funny as fuck.
He's just the funniest guy. Benny is like a long time friend of Stefan, mine,
Yeah.
and he's probably just one of my favorite people in the whole
so
world. He actually, for anyone who doesn't know Benny once won a Jesus lookalike contest. Do you
Did
remember?
he?
Yes, do you remember that?
Maybe. I think maybe I do. I don't know. Known him a long time. I don't even know. That's so funny.
It was
I
through
can see it.
it was through Triple M. It was a Triple M Jesus lookalike contest.
Was it?
Yes.
No way.
And he won.
Their local radio station. That's hilarious.
But yeah, go check out Benny's Beer Reviews. He basically does these awesome beer reviews of all different types of beer, and
He's been doing it for ages. There's
Yeah.
some really,
He's a
some
champion.
weird, freaky beers
Yes,
he's been drinking.
yeah, he's definitely gotten me onto some really good beers. Actually, I follow his
has he?
reviews pretty closely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So anyone who's
I am not much of a beer person at all. I just drink like straight up lager.
just lager. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. That's all I'll touch.
You know what? I do sometimes try to get into like craft beers, and really there's only been like a couple that I like. Every time I buy a craft beer, I'm like, why did I just spend like $20 on this one can of beer?
I know.
And that's
I'm not much of a I'm very simple with my alcohol.
Yeah.
Like I just drink lager. Like if I'm drinking beer, it's just been Melbourne Bitter. Or if I'm going to go something a little bit more fun, I'll literally just drink gin and tonic.
yeah, you're a gin
Which
and
is
tonic
just my
girl.
always, I just love my gin and tonics. And my Melbourne Bitter.
Yeah, Melbourne Bitter. That's so funny. I've not actually tried Melbourne Bitter before.
It's really good. So before I was just drinking Carlton and VB. That's all I used to drink.
I like Carlton.
Yeah. But then since we actually moved to where we are now, the local bottler was just selling Melbourne Bitter, like cases of Melbourne Bitter. I'm like, you know what? Let's just give it a go. And me and Dylan were just like, this is way better than VB. What the fuck is going on?
VB's fucking chat. It's so
oh
chat.
my God. It's I can't go back now.
Yeah.
I literally cannot go back.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, maybe I should
that was
try
me with
it.
Tui's though as well, and Coopers. Like
Yeah.
I've always like
I like Coopers.
yeah, I haven't had a Coopers in a while, but Tui's now I'm like, what the hell was I doing?
Yeah.
Drinking that.
Yeah,
So-
you're onto the, what is it, Melbourne Bitters now?
Melbourne Bitters,
I
yeah.
drink Reshes, tinnies
Oh,
of
Reshes is good.
Yeah, you know what?
And Furphy's is good too.
Oh, I've not tried it.
It's good.
I never liked beer until maybe 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never was a beer drinker. I would try and I always wanted to like beer, never liked it. I always drank like wine and cider and rum. And 2 years ago, started drinking beers, and I love
mature palate.
Oh,
It's-
yes,
it's
my palate has
forming.
matured. I like stouts as well. That's how I started off
Oh, I've
drinking beer.
never had a stout. I mean, I definitely tried
really?
one, but I've never had one. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really
It was weird
good
the other
for
day.
winter.
We were watching Chopper, the movie,
I fucking love Chopper.
and he drinks Melbourne Bitter.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean,
And we were like, we were drinking it and watching it going, oh, shit.
fuzzy
Oh, my
spoon.
camera's gone. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Chopper. Well, you are pretty similar to Chopper, so
Oh, we're very alike.
very alike. Well, how about we keep it short and sweet tonight?
I'll get into my
I'm
story,
really
I
interested to know what your story is, because I've got no idea. And because you haven't done one like this before, I just want to get into it.
Oh,
and-
there's no way you'd even know what it is. but
Okay,
yeah.
cool. All right.
Yeah. So, as I said, super different story from the ones what we've both done.
Okay.
But I think it's super interesting. And I've only known about this for a few months as well. It's nothing paranormal, UFO, or cryptid related. It's more dark history.
Okay.
So it's something that we wouldn't have learnt at school, that's for sure.
Okay.
So I'll be talking about the Mad Hatters of Danbury.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, if you haven't heard of this before, I'm sure you've heard of the term mad as a hatter. or of the character Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. So this is what intrigued me to go further, as the Mad Hatter is just a super crazy character, which we all know. So it all begins in the late 17th century in Britain, when the French had brought over a new method for making felt. So it was like a French trade secret that no one knew of. And until someone took this over to Britain, this is when this new method expanded. Now, this method also came along with a new disease called erethism. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Okay.
Erethism or erethism. I'm going to say erethism, which is also known as Mad Hatter disease or Mad Hatter syndrome, Hatter's shakes, or Danbury shakes.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
No, not at all. So the way this would work is they would treat fur from animals like hares, rabbits, beavers, and that, and they would dilute it in a solution called mercuric nitrate. So the fur was then dried in an oven, then it was stretched and cut to shape. With these cuts, they would layer them onto a conical mold and then steam, and then they would shrink them onto the mold with the steam. They could then be dyed and made into fancy new hats.
Right.
So
okay.
It's kind of like the basic process of making a fancy hat.
Okay.
And this method, it was known as carroting, which is a very funny word.
Carroting? Like a carrot? Like
carroting, yeah.
Munchy carrot?
Oh, yeah, like an actual carrot.
Okay.
Because the white animal fur would turn an orangey red colour because it would contain this mercury solution in it. So it would all turn orange.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Yes. So this method of hat making became extremely popular, as the pelts were really soft and made it really easy to work with the felt. And became popular all over the world. And it was one of the most common, well, actually, it was the way to make top hats and bowler hats and fedoras or whatever the fucking type of weird hats they were making back then. The problem with this, however, is, as we now know, mercury's poisonous.
Oh,
it's very fucking poisonous.
It's like the poisonous poison.
Yeah, that's it. So if you were making the hats and using steam to make the molds, well, that steam had mercury in it.
Yeah. Okay.
So in the 19th century, work conditions were horrible. They worked in tiny confined spaces with little to no ventilation. So they were just inhaling the vapors all day.
It's like a mercury beauty spa or something, like a mercury sauna.
Oh my God, yeah, totally is. So as a result of this, the Hatters all started to experience symptoms such as coughing, gingivitis, nausea, vomiting, increased salivation, diarrhea, and skin rashes.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, this would only be the start of the disease, as they would have a lifelong list of other more severe symptoms that would ruin their lives.
Oh.
Now, these ongoing symptoms due to the poisoning include, now prepare for a big list because it's fucking crazy, headaches, slurred speech, muscular weakness, tremors, changes in mood, excessive shyness.
What?
Partial
excessive shyness. That's a very interesting symptom.
It's so weird. Partial leg paralysis, excitability, changes in sensation, hallucinations, memory changes, depression, personality changes, redness of cheeks, toes and fingers, delirium, loss of hair, teeth, nails, and hearing, lack of coordination, and ongoing. Like, it is crazy.
Wow.
It destroys you. It completely destroys you.
And it's not just like your basic, nosebleeds and coughing and seizures. It's like shyness and excitability.
It's super weird. Yeah, and then your hair and teeth are falling
and
out.
You get really blushed and,
it's super strange. And you're slurring as well. You can't pick up anything. You got shakes.
Oh, and
so that's sort of damage, like you constantly tremors, it's just. Ugh. So now the most fucked up thing is during this time, it was known that Mercury was causing these symptoms.
Oh, so they knew that.
Oh, they knew.
Okay. Right.
Now, they were in fact treating syphilis with mercury as well by rubbing it on the skin and taking it orally or injecting it. So the outcome of the poisoning was that bad for hat makers. The term became to be mad as a hatter due to the severe amount of mercury they would ingest. So there was no, I guess, they didn't know how much you needed to take for it to cause problems.
Okay, so they were knew that it was bad, but they
knew it was to a large extent, but because they were still using it medically for things. So
I've heard about it being used for syphilis. Like, that's pretty hectic.
Oh, it's so fucked up. Yeah. So so this expression, mad as a hatter, it came about in 1829 when a report was made about the syndrome in St. Petersburg, Russia. And in 1851, all of the workers got together and they made a Hatters Union. So they actually compiled a large report inside this article, and many stories were shared of the workers. So, quote, "So much steam. You didn't only want to wear a rubber apron in front of you, but also over your head. There wasn't any ceilings. The steam rising to the rafters condensed and came down like rain."
Oh my God. That's fucking horrible.
And according to the report, another one, unknown to the workers, it was a rain of death from the fumes of nitrate of mercury. Yeah. And France in 1898 made the first law to protect the hat makers by using new methods with hydrochloride instead of mercury. However, the United States did not incorporate this method till 1941.
Of course they fucking didn't. Of course they didn't.
Oh my God.
Why do they love doing that shit? Why?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to all
They knew
our
all
American
of this.
listeners. It's nothing against you guys, but there is a whole different standard.
Full abuse of power and of workers. It's disgusting. They knew
horrible.
all of this.
And they knew it as well. It wasn't that they just were ignoring, like...
Oh, no.
You know,
they knew very well.
Knew. Yeah.
So, inspectors were going around in the UK taking note of all the deaths and illnesses linked to working with mercury. And in 1899, it was officially named a disease due to all the evidence and people having to lodge in a report due to contracting the disease. It was all reported everywhere. Although mercury was being used less and less by this point in the hat industry, they were unaware of the amount of other workspaces and equipment that relied on mercury. So heaps of other businesses still needed it. It wasn't just the hat makers.
Yeah.
Did I say hat makers?
The hat makers.
The hat makers. I think I just did. So it was still this was still a very common illness because everyone was still using it. In 1912, there was an article written in Lancet where they say that people who were to wear these hats, also known as hat bodies, they were also getting affected by the mercury.
Oh my God. So it's just everyone.
I know, because it's just soaked in mercury and they're wearing this fucking mercury top hat.
I was thinking that when you first started your story. I was like, does this mean that like people wearing the hats?
Hat bodies. That's what they call them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So towards the end of the 19th century, the cases for this did become less and less as people started to realise that they were able to use other options, and ventilation in the workplaces became a lot better. No official legislation really existed as there was no need for it due to the numbers dropping. It was monitored, but no need to have a big discussion about it. They just were like, oh, we're using the other method now with the hydrochloride, you know.
Right.
But, of course, the United States, they
good
are
old
still
US.
using it. Yeah. So, 1941. And the reason why they stopped in 1941 is only due to the fact that it was World War II and they needed more workers to produce heavy metal for the detonators.
Okay.
So they needed them for something else, yeah.
So it wasn't even due to, like, wanting to help the health and safety of your workforce.
That's it. So, yeah, a large part of the 20th century, mercury poisoning remained in the US hat makers industry, including Danbury, which was also dubbed Hat City. So Danbury is located in Connecticut, and by the 1800s, it made more hats than any other US city. When industrialization hit, the factories took off, and they would produce 5 million hats per year.
Ooh, that's a lot of hats.
Just this city, yeah.
Oh, yeah, just in that one city.
This is just that city.
Wow.
Which I've never even heard of.
No.
Until this.
No.
It's crazy. So Danbury was now known everywhere and put them on the motherfucking map.
Yep. Yeah.
Danbury Hat City.
They're the
where you're
hat
going to get a fucking hat. Yeah. There's also a baseball team named the Danbury Hatters. That's still called the Danbury Hatters.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and they've got a hat on their town seal as well.
That's
there's
kinda
actually like a
cute.
little hat. Yeah, it's still there. Yeah. So, although they were bringing in all of the dollars with the hats, they were knowingly abusing their workers.
Yeah.
One of the most fucked up things about this too is that the workers would know that they're suffering from the disease and would have to hide their symptoms.
Oh, no.
That's right. So another quote from a worker is as follows: "I suspect I had it too, but I wouldn't go to the doctor. If a worker claimed compensation, he got on the blacklist of the manufacturers. He couldn't get another job unless he'd sign a waiver against future claims."
Oh, that's really sad.
It's so
So,
bad.
like, this thing that's being caused by, like, the lack of care from the company and, like, your country, I guess, as well.
Yeah. There's no one to look up to
Yeah.
help you out.
When it's caused by them in the first place, you know.
Exactly. Well, that's true, yeah. The US Public Health Service didn't actually do a study on the illness till 1937 after being pushed by the Hatters Union. So I want to read this excerpt from the British Journal of Industrial Medicine. So this was written in 1946 and gives a very real idea of the sickness. "The man affected is easily upset and embarrassed, loses all joy in life, and lives in constant fear of being dismissed from his job.
Ugh.
He has a sense of timidity? Timidity? There we go.
I don't know if
Has
that's
a
right.
sense of timidity. No, that sounds right. And may lose self-control before visitors. Thus, if one stops to watch such a man in a factory, he will sometimes throw down his tools and turn in anger on the intruder, saying he cannot work if watched."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they get angry very fast.
Yeah.
Occasionally, a man is obliged to give up work because he can no longer take orders without losing his temper,
Oh, shit.
or if he is a foreman because he has no patience with men under him. Drowsiness, depression, loss of memory, and insomnia may occur, but hallucinations, delusions, and mania are rare.
Right.
The most characteristic symptom, though, it is seldom the first to appear, is mercurial tremor. It may be interrupted every few minutes by coarse, jerky movements. It usually begins in the fingers, but the eyelids, lips, and tongue are affected early. As it progresses, it passes to the arms and legs so that it becomes very difficult for a man to walk about the workshop and he may have to be guided to his bench.
Whoa, that's pretty serious.
Like, so bad that he can't even fucking work.
Yeah, but yeah, he's like
But he's there
tremoring
still.
uncontrollably and he's still fucking working. That's horrific.
Oh.
That's so terrible that, like, you know, these people were so scared to lose their jobs, but also outside of their work and in their work, they were going through all these, like, hectic symptoms.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
It's really fucking sad. So, yeah, as grim as all of that is, during this time, the US was also dealing with something which we have mentioned a few times on this podcast, tuberculosis.
Oh, fucking
the magic T
tuberculosis,
word.
of course.
Yeah. Yeah. And there again. So this was the leading cause of death in the 19th century.
Yep.
And in hot, steamy workshops, the Hatters were catching that as well.
Oh, I fucking bet they were.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would. That's like the perfect environment for TB to be bred.
Absolutely insane. Yeah. So things were becoming out of control. The union was fighting very hard for safer work conditions, but kept getting pushed back. The employers were saying that the tremors and hallucinations were caused by drunkenness and tobacco use, which makes me want to fucking scream that they said that.
That's so crazy that they would prefer to call themselves drunks and, tobacco or whatever, as opposed to admitting that they have this fucking horrible illness.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It's crazy. So many Hatters were out of work due to being fired, or they were still working under these horrible conditions. Around the turn of the century, the court made decisions that favoured anti-union employees, which weakened the Hatter union majorly. The case went back and forth for about 15 years, reaching the Supreme Court twice. And during this time, we welcome Alice Hamilton. So she lives about 50 miles from Danbury, and she was observing the whole situation. She had a medical degree and went to live in a settlement house in Chicago for all the workers. So the men living in this dwelling, which was also named as Hull House, they had all lost their jobs to the disease, and they were all homed in this place.
Right, okay.
So Alice Hamilton was at the top of her game for industrial hygiene and occupational epidemiology. So she studied and spoke to these men every day, learning more and more about the illness. Okay. So she pretty much lived there with them.
Oh, what a bloody champion.
Yeah, I know. And in 1919, Harvard Medical School made her the first female faculty member. Oh. So she was an assistant professor in the Department of Industrial Medicine, and she studied heavily on mercury poisoning, and then she finally wrote her report in 1922 stating the following about the Danbury Shakes. Of 100 Union Hatters of Danbury examined by experts, 43 had mercury poisoning. Boys 20 and 21 years old are already so badly poisoned that their hands shake continually. While many of the men who have served longer at the trade cannot even feed themselves.
Oh my God, what a life to live. You can't even feed yourself. And boys that young as well. You're still a kid.
20, yeah.
You're still a fucking kid. And
Crazy.
Your life is already so heavily affected.
By 1934, the US Public Health Service estimated that 80% of American felt makers were suffering from mercurial tremors.
Wow, that's a huge number.
80%,
that's a huge number.
Yeah. No official legislation ever came about in the US or France to stop the use of mercury in felt makers due to the fact that everyone started using the hydrogen peroxide formula instead. However, I do still think that there should be one. But yeah, I guess it's technically.
Oh, there absolutely
they
should
still
be.
Can.
Yeah. Oh,
it's not illegal. So I don't know.
What's stopping some fucking employer? It doesn't mean that it's all just going to come back in such wide use, but it could mean that there could be an employer.
Laws are there for a reason.
Taking advantage of that.
Yeah, it's crazy to me.
But why? So, why did they never make it illegal?
They just didn't want to. I guess it was just too, there's too much stuff around it. I guess there was so many court cases that they've been to, so many people have suffered from it. I think that if they finally made a legislation, maybe that means that the employees would end up having to suffer the the brunt of what happened and what they did. In this case, it's kind of they've changed it now. They're going to use another formula. Just let them go.
Just let them do it.
Just let it do it. I think it might have fucked up everything if they did it.
Just
which still now I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's just, it's something that just got let go.
Just sweep it under the rug, like under the rug, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's good. Obviously, Mercury's no longer being used.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it doesn't still exist. So in Danbury, there are still 6 hat factories running strongly. But the last one actually closed in 1965.
Right.
So, yeah, so there was 6 factories still going using the new method, but yeah, the last one was 1965. It shut down. Now, after all these factories closed, the Environmental Protection Agency declared that the factories' land that they were on was a Superfund cleanup site. They said that the rivers still contained traces of mercury, and they do to this day.
Shit.
They even placed trees around the whole area where these factories were, thinking that it would fix it all. However, the trees are now pumping it into the air.
Oh, so it's not that the trees like soaked it up and kept it in their little tree bodies. They're just sending it out into the air. And
it's out.
That's fine.
It's literally just...
It's all fine.
Yeah. So I don't want to end on a bad note here. So what I'll do is I'll discuss the Mad Hatter character just to distract you from all that grim shit.
It's very considerate of you.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I'm not leaving it there. So Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. They created a wonderful character named the Mad Hatter. A lot of people have speculated that he's suffering from mercury poisoning. A lot of people argue that he doesn't have that shyness and difficulty with interacting with people, so that might not be it. But there is a theory that he was actually based on a real-life furniture dealer called Theophilus Carter, who was often called the Mad Hatter due to his eccentric character, and he always wore a top hat.
Ooh,
Now, I feel like him wearing a top hat, he may have been suffering from Mad Hatters.
The disease,
that most people haven't thought about, because he was always wearing a
If he was always wearing it, I mean...
Yes. So, I don't know. But, yeah, and also the later version of the Mad Hatter, we're talking about, like, the Johnny Depp kind of version.
Oh, yeah.
So, he's got bright orange hair.
Yeah.
He's got orange marks on his skin as well, which are symptoms of carotene.
Right.
And Johnny Depp,
sense.
so he played the character, and he actually said that his interpretation of the character had been poisoned, and it took effect in all of his nerves. It was coming out through his hair, his fingernails, and through his eyes.
Right. Oh, that makes sense.
I think it. Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
I think it is definitely.
Yeah.
That
aligns.
I think they might have tweaked it a little bit because, I mean, you got to give them a bit of spice.
A bit of spice. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess that's where I'm going to end this one, but I thought it was a very interesting little story.
That's such a great story. Yeah, because it's also very different to what you and I usually do. It's a nice, really, I was going to say fun. It's not fun. It's a very interesting
it's
and big piece of history,
I know. It's a very large piece of history that, we all, from where we all have come from, this hats have been made.
Yeah.
And it's just something that everywhere kind of went through, and no one fucking knows. Like, Mercury's crazy.
Mercury is so hectic.
Those little temperature gauges with the mercury, I remember always as a kid going, never smash one of those with the mercury.
That as well.
The fear around that was insane.
Oh, and you had to be really careful with them, and the temperature gauge, like the cylinder was made of glass, and so if you shattered the glass,
fragile.
It's pretty hardcore stuff. I know that back hundreds of years ago, they used mercury as almost like an elixir of life.
Oh no!
And they would
didn't.
Sometimes drink it and use it on their skin, and they thought it was like this, life-giving. Maybe because it's so metallic and
it looks pretty fucking cool, but I would not be rubbing it on my skin.
No, there's there's been ancient tombs found with like Mercury kind of all encased in it. Yeah, they loved that shit. They loved Mercury so much back in like
that's really cool.
Ancient history and stuff. Your story reminds me a lot of another piece of history that is it called the Radium Girls? I think is what they were called. Have you ever heard of the Radium Girls?
No.
I'm pretty sure or is it the Uranium Girls? But it's basically like back in, I don't even know what era it was, but back when they were using radium, which is like radioactive shit, they were using it in glow paint, and it was the women who were working in the factories that were using this radium, this like active radium paint to paint like the dials of clocks, or they would paint signs, and they would paint things. And what they would do is they had these paintbrushes, and they would lick the paintbrushes to make a point, and then they would paint it. So they were constantly, there's a movie about it, I think it's already been released, but it's a pretty recent movie. They would like lick the paintbrush that was like, had the radium on it. And so these women, they got cancers all through their jaws. Their lower jaws basically just like fell away, like dropped off. And they had tumors through their bodies, and it's horrible. And
that's so crazy. That's so dangerous.
It's a really like horrible piece of history. And the owners of the factories and stuff, they knew how bad it was, because when they were in the factory, when the owners were in the factory, they would wear like lead vests and protective clothing, and that kind of thing. Gross. And these poor women, they had to kind of fight for changes and also like compensation basically for their families. And it's this whole big thing.
And this has been made into a movie.
Yeah, there's also a documentary about it, and there's I think it's called just the Radium Girls, or I'm pretty sure
check that out. That's
somebody
really cool.
Correct me if that's right. But your story reminds me a little bit of that, how these working conditions were so horrible. And
there's a lot of bad times that no one really talks about. So.
Yeah, but thank you for that one. That was really great.
No worries.
I really enjoyed it. Well, this is definitely a very unique episode, because my story, it's not fully similar to yours, but it's similar in a sense
different.
It's not totally like paranormal, and it's
I got no idea.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm just going to get straight into it then, so you can know what it is.
Thank you.
So, my story this week, as I said, it isn't necessarily something paranormal, although it is a mystery, and it's not known exactly what it is. My story this week is about a strange and unexplained phenomenon that has just simply been dubbed the hum. Have you ever heard of the hum?
I have.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's good.
Spooky.
It is spooky. It's so fucking weird. It's really weird. I hope that I have fully encapsulated.
I haven't looked into it at all though, but I know I can hear the noise in my head.
Okay. All right. So the hum. It's a weird and low-pitched noise that only about 2 to 4 of the population can hear. It's heard by people all across the world, but more so in certain locations. Sometimes it's almost perceived as a vibration or a frequency or a droning noise. You may not have even heard the hum, but once you do hear it, you can never stop hearing it, ever. It's with you for life.
Yeah.
You could hear it every night of the week, yet your partner who lays next to you in the same bed or your next door neighbour will never hear it, not once.
No way. Yes. I did not know that.
Even though it does seem to be an external sound.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's made it, I feel very uncomfortable now. Okay.
Wait, hang on. Do you hear it? Do you hear the hum?
I've never heard it.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I
okay.
think I'm talking about. I thought it was like I thought people have recorded it.
Oh, no.
I'm thinking of something different.
Like that angel trumpet hum. Are you
Angel trumpet thing.
Yeah. That's not that. This is, I know what you're talking about.
I was like, wait, what?
This is something else. This is something else. I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh, one of us should do that story sometime, though. That is very interesting. This is something else.
So I don't know what the hum.
Yeah, so I'll go into it because it's, it's very interesting. So some people have described it as sounding like a truck idling outside your window or the dull moan of an airplane in the distance. It can be heard outside, but for some mysterious reason, it seems to be louder indoors, especially if you're laying in bed. And we have no idea why this happens.
God, no. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so very strange. It also has a wide range of effects on different people. The more severe of these effects I will get into in a little bit, but the more general effects can range from headaches, diarrhea, dizziness, nosebleeds, or even seizures. The hum has become a widely reported occurrence all around the world, but it's still a very poorly understood phenomena. Currently, we have absolutely no idea what causes the hum, where it comes from, or where it originated from, or why only such a small percentage of people hear it, why only some people hear it. We do know that it was heard as early as the 1800s, as there's writings of it in reports, etc., like brief writings, but the earliest real official dated reports of people hearing the hum is from the mid-1970s in England, more specifically in Bristol. We know this is where first real reports started appearing because it was around this time that letters began being submitted to the Bristol Post about residents in the area experiencing a low, mysterious rumbling noise with no known origin, just seemingly out of nowhere, all at the same time.
Oh.
The Bristol hum began being heard by residents as almost as only an innocuous, almost just an annoying noise, which soon turned into more of a concerning distraction. But from there, it became a lot more serious. It started affecting people's mental health, causing depression, anxiety, and even apparently leading to the suicide of 2 people.
Oh, no.
Yes, because it just...
We're hearing it every night.
Yeah, exactly. You're hearing it every night. It stops you from sleeping.
Yeah, that's... well, I can see how that would send you to that point.
Yeah, for sure. There was a theory at the time that the Bristol hum was being caused by a large industrial... it was being caused by large industrial fans being used in a nearby warehouse in Avonmouth. But that's been solidly debunked, as the hum is still heard by people of Bristol to this day, despite the warehouse being decommissioned years and years ago. This, as well as the fact that it's approximately a 20-minute drive from the Avonmouth warehouse to Bristol, which is a large distance for the sound of large fans to travel no matter what size they are. Reports of the hum started branching out from Bristol across other areas of the UK. It was being heard in Hythe, Plymouth, and as recently as just a few months ago, it was being heard in Swansea too.
Wow.
Yeah, so all of these locations are between 2 to 5 hours away from each other, which does... excludes some kind of acoustic sound, possibly from a warehouse, because just the distance between all these cities, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's weird.
Teams of scientists armed with hypersensitive equipment have investigated specifically the Bristol hum, as well as other hums around the world, but all tests and investigations have led to nothing but inconclusive results. despite these bottomless investigations, there have been numerous theories on what the hum is, such as it possibly being caused by the midshipman fish, which are a breed of fish that have sometimes been found to emit low humming noises as a mating call.
Oh, okay.
But this is a pretty shaky theory. Horny fish.
I don't
fish
think. Again?
Yeah, they're just going for it again. Another theory is that the hum was caused by ocean waves extending down to the ocean floor and shaking the earth as they collide with ridges and continental shelves.
All right, why not?
Why fucking not? It's thought to maybe possibly be an electric charge built up. It's thought to maybe be possibly an electric charge build up caused by lightning as well. And other theories include vibrating from erupting volcanoes and perhaps even earthquakes that could be causing the humming sound. Mm-hmm. But all of these theories can pretty easily be debunked by a variety of reasoning, such as the hum having consistencies all around the world, which makes it almost impossible for these theories to be contributing factors. An earthquake, volcano, or ocean waves creating a hum in one part of the world would not affect the other side of the globe that does not have the same set of circumstances as all the other locations.
Yeah.
And the hum occurs every single night for its victims too. So this does not make sense for it to be caused by these kinds of theories.
Yeah.
Of course, there are some more alternate theories as to where the hum is coming from. Some people think that the hum is the work of the CIA and the military using ELF and VLF weapons on the population. And if anyone isn't sure what ELF and VLF is, those acronyms stand for extremely low frequency and very low frequency. And this is something that we know for sure the military has developed and trialed, but this isn't yet a widely accepted theory, as it's known that frequency generally of these ranges are perceived by the human ear as more of a clicking noise, not a droning humming noise. But we do know that the military does have
they got some crazy
shit that produce all sorts of feelings and noises and you know, what have you. And there are others who think that this is, of course, aliens. Aliens who are using advanced high-tech equipment here on Earth, which unfortunately we have no evidence of yet. Mass hysteria as well as tinnitus have also been ruled out when they've come up as theories, as psychologists and ear, nose, mouth doctors and a variety of other specialists have investigated and studied people who are hearing the hum. Pretty much straight away, the suggestion that this noise is tinnitus is brought up always, because that's what makes sense when you hear something like this. Oh, it's tinnitus.
Yeah, I guess so.
In the ear, you know, whatever. But as I said before, mostly everyone who experiences the hum says this is an external sound, not internal, the way that tinnitus is within the ear. So the hum is not just something that is bugging people in certain places around the world. There seems to be patterns of where and who is hearing the hum. There's a map online which anyone can view that's named the Hum Map, which I recommend everyone goes to look at. It's very interesting. The Hum Map has been collated and created by a man named Dr. Glenn McPherson, who is an incredibly smart and educated man who puts a lot of time and energy into trying to solve this mystery. Right. So, yeah, the map is incredible. I highly recommend everyone go check it out. Even just a glance of the map, you can see that the hum is experienced by almost exclusively Eurocentric parts of the world. which is very interesting. For example, there are high concentrations of hum reports within South Africa, while the other parts of Africa are pretty much totally void of reports.
Right.
Yeah, so mostly like Caucasian, etc. The type of people who are hearing it. Then if you look at Europe, you almost can't see the land mass under the amount of report dots on the map.
No way.
Yep.
Fucking hell.
Yep. Then, of course, if you look at Canada and America, there are huge numbers there too, with the most reported areas seemingly being around coastal areas, which is just me looking at the map, noticing that coastal areas are pretty dense with reports. There are a fair few reports in Australia too, but definitely not as frequently as the other countries.
Yeah.
It does definitely seem that there are waves of the hum being experienced by certain areas of the world. In the US, the worst widespread outbreak of the hum was in New Mexico, within a country called Taos, Taos, Taos. And this was in the 1990s, and it first came to light when distressed Taos residents complained to their local state representatives, and this prompted an official congressional investigation.
Wow, so a lot of people heard this.
Oh, yeah, it was a pretty large group of people in Taos that heard it.
Oh, my God.
A mechanical engineering professor of the New Mexico University led a team of acoustic researchers and hearing scientists to hunt down the source of the hum and hope...
Hearing scientists?
Hearing scientists, which I Googled hearing scientists because I was like, that doesn't sound right. And there's a group of scientists that are called hearing scientists. And like... If you're a hearing scientist, you're like a specific type of scientist that falls under the hearing scientist umbrella.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, that sounds fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were this team was put together to hunt down the source of the hum and hopefully put it to rest. But alas, this was also inconclusive after months of research and investigating.
Oh, God.
This was one of the largest investigations by researchers, scientists and professionals into what was causing the hum, in Taos anyway. And this is just one example of so many investigations into the mystery noise that has just come up with no answers. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on with this sound.
Up.
Like, there has been so many investigations all around the world by real professionals, not like pseudo scientific groups.
Never heard of this.
Yeah. So yeah, this hum, it's not just simply bugging people. It's literally driving people to take their lives. And one man even purposefully made himself go deaf with a chainsaw in an attempt to end the endless noise.
Okay. How did he...
I don't know. Yeah, I think he just put his ear so close to the chainsaw that it was like very loud.
That's great. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're hearing it constantly and it's affecting you that badly.
Earplugs in, like, I wonder if that does anything.
I wonder. I read someone who, said that no matter whether you're listening to music or you have earplugs, you can still hear it, even though
it's the same.
It's an external noise.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And you can hear it mostly inside. Yeah. Anyway, very strange.
Fuck.
It's also believed that the hum was a very significant contribution to a man committing a mass murder in the US.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really heavily affecting many people all around the world, and it's truly affecting their quality of life. It's causing countless people to lose sleep every night, and if you are able to hear the hum, it makes you feel like you're crazy because it's likely that no one else around you can hear it. Endless days and nights like this would just make anyone lose their mind. So the whole mass murder thing.
Yeah.
Just as a heads up, nobody is saying that the hum is purely the cause of people killing each other, but it's possible that someone already with mental health issues who is being affected by the hum, this may be a fatal concoction.
Yeah.
In 2013, a man named Alexis, who was the killer in the Navy Yard shootings, claimed that for 3 months before the shootings, he was a victim of ULF, which is ultra low frequency attacks. And that's what drove him to commit the shooting at the Washington Navy Yard.
Wow.
He killed 12 people and severely injured 3 others in the shootings before officers shot him dead. When officers were able to investigate his body and the weapons that he used, it was found that Alexis had used a sawn-off shotgun, and on the side of his gun, he had scratched "My ELF weapon" on the side of the stock, as well as "End the Torment."
Oh.
He had spoken at length before the shooting about the military targeting him in ELF attacks. So at this point, it's unknown whether the military was targeting him. And that's
a bit of a weird one.
It's a weird one. Yeah. And I don't want to give this bloke too much credit or too much of a platform because, you know, he killed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to think about the possibility he was being affected by something similar to what the hum is. And Alexis is not the only person who has said that this noise has driven them to do terrible things to others. There's been other you know, shootings and attacks and stuff that by people who are saying that they're, you know, being attacked by ELF or ULF or whatever. So on one side of the argument, people think that these hums are truly driving people to do things like this. And on the other side of the argument, people are saying, no, these people are crazy and would have done this anyway. So it's a mystery as to what this hum is, although at first it sounds like an innocuous and harmless sound, but really it's quite the opposite. It's harmful and it really ruins people's lives. So let's just hope that we never become victims of the hum.
Yeah. Very fucking interesting, Charlie. What the hell?
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic.
Noise. Can people are there videos out there where people have recreated it? Like they know what, I kind of want to hear it. It sounds... but also I don't want to trigger it either.
I know.
I'm scared.
I know. There are YouTube videos of very low frequency, recreations of very low frequencies and ultra low frequencies and stuff. But maybe I wasn't looking hard enough, but I couldn't see any videos that it was like this person is saying this is what the hum sounds like.
Yeah.
But it would be very interesting to listen to though.
Yeah. And I mean, I've got so many questions. This is crazy. Are they all adults or do children experience it?
It varies from each place to place, but it does seem to happen primarily between the ages of I think it was 40 and 70 or something like that.
Oh, really?
In some specific areas, but then other areas it's different. And in one area, it's mostly women. And then in another area, it's mostly men. So it is kind of different.
That's
all over the place.
Mind-blowing. I can't even imagine having to deal with something like that. First of all, I mean... having it as an external noise would make you feel crazy because you try to find the source.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that you'd feel like it's not in my head, but then everyone else is saying it's in my fucking head. And
yeah,
then
because
the person
they
next
can't
to you
hear
saying
it.
I can't hear
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
One of the residents from Taos in New Mexico, he said that the hum that he was hearing in Taos, it had a distance of 30, it was either 30 kilometers or 30 miles. So he could hear it 30, let's just say kilometers, 30 kilometers away from Taos. And then after that 30 kilometers distance, it started to fade out.
That is weird.
Yeah. But what would make...
What the fuck?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
very, very strange. Yeah, there's lots of information out there on this topic, but yeah.
I am intrigued.
Yeah, there's a really good podcast episode by the guys at Stuff You Should Know. They do a really good episode on the hum, and they also talk about a really interesting case of it's not exactly related to the hum, but it's this factory in, I think it was like Portugal, where the workers were hearing something similar to the hum, or they were exposed to like a similar kind of frequency or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it was like 60% of the workers or something were having seizures, and a bunch of them were getting really sick, and then one of the workers was really getting super sick and he was kind of like dying, and he said, like, when I die, cut me open, see what is in there, see what the effects are.
Find that noise.
Find what's going on. And they cut him open and he had like tumors and all this really weird stuff happening in his body.
Really?
All this kind of strange, unexplainable stuff. So, yeah, I thought this story was very interesting because it's really not interesting. Like a weird kind of theory, or
you could go any direction with that.
You
can really go any direction.
And we know it's a thing that people hear, you know,
vibrating, that having a low frequency makes I'm gonna go with the fish.
The horny fish
I'm
down for some horny fish.
I reckon it's him. I'm gonna blame him.
Well, that was awesome. 2 not really paranormal stories.
Yeah, but they're creepy and they're weird and they make you feel uncomfortable.
I love our diversity on this podcast.
Me too. I love
it. I hope we didn't freak anyone out too much with our number talk in the beginning of this episode, our mathematics.
Oh, fuck, that was traumatic. I know.
It's too late to talk numbers.
It's way too late, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Always like, review, subscribe, rate us wherever.
Do the things.
It helps us out. And if you want to support us, check out our Patreon. We've got lots of fun stuff over there, lots of exclusive content.
Yeah.
And you can chat with us in our Discord as well.
Yes, you can find us on social media at Spooky Mountain Podcast. That's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube,
TikTok.
TikTok. We're actually doing like proper stuff.
It's rolling. We got the ball rolling with the TikTok.
We're pretty much professional TikTok users now.
TikTokers now, you'll be like, I heard them from TikTok.
Yes. It's so addictive. Holy shit. I just, when we first got TikTok, I was like, it'd be good for the podcast, but now I'm just scrolling on that shit.
Hours.
Oh, yeah. Hours.
It's gone very fast.
Yeah. So, come find us on TikTok. But yeah, thanks so much for listening in this week. We'll speak at you next week.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. This episode of Spooky Mountain was created and recorded on land of the original custodians, the Gundungurra and Bidjigal people. We pay respects to the past, present, and emerging mob. My name is Geordie, and I'm a proud Gunya woman. Thank you for listening.